Happiness? It's what we're all after, isn't it? But let me tell you something. Happiness isn't just going to fall into your lap. You've got to grab it, chase it, and sometimes you've got to force yourself to be happy. Now, I know what you're thinking. Force myself to be happy? That doesn't sound right. But stick with me, and I'll show you why it's one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. You see, happiness isn't just a feeling, it's a choice. It's a skill. And like any skill, it takes practice. You wouldn't expect to sit down at a piano for the first time and play like Mozart, would you? Of course not. So why do we expect happiness to come naturally without any effort on our part? Let me tell you a little story. Years ago, I met a man who seemed to have it all. Good job, nice house, beautiful family. But he was miserable. Every day, he'd wake up and focus on all the things that were wrong in his life. His boss was a pain. His kids were too noisy. His car wasn't as nice as his neighbors. And you know what? His life started to reflect his attitude. He became bitter, angry, and lonely. Now contrast that with another person I knew. This woman had been through hell. She'd lost her job, her house, and was struggling to make ends meet. But every morning, she'd wake up and force herself to find something to be grateful for. Some days, it was as simple as having a roof over her head. Other days, it was the smile of a stranger on the street. And you know what happened? Her life began to change. Opportunities started coming her way. People were drawn to her positive energy. She climbed out of that hole and built a life. The difference between these two people? Choice. The choice to force themselves to look for the good even when it seemed impossible to find. Now, I'm not saying you should ignore your problems or pretend everything's perfect when it's not. That's not what this is about. This is about training your mind to look for the positive, to find joy in the small things, to create happiness even in challenging circumstances. Thinking about it like this, but you ever been in a bad mood, and then someone tells a joke that makes you laugh? For a moment, you forget about your troubles. That's the power of choosing happiness. It can shift your entire perspective. But here's the kicker. You don't have to wait for someone else to make you laugh. You have the power to create that shift yourself, and the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. So how do you force yourself to be happy? Well, let me give you a few strategies that have worked for me and countless others I've met over the years. First, start your day with gratitude. Before you even get out of bed, think of 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big things. Maybe you're grateful for the comfortable bed you slept in, or the fact that you have a job to go to, or the coffee waiting for you in the kitchen. This simple practice sets the tone for your entire day. Next, smile more. I know, it sounds silly. But here's the thing. Your body and your mind are connected. When you smile, even if you don't feel like it, your brain starts to release feel-good chemicals. It's like tricking your brain into happiness. And the best part? Smiling is contagious. You'll start to notice people smiling back at you, which will make you feel even better. Third, surround yourself with positive people. You've heard the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Well, it's true. If you're constantly around negative people who complain all the time, guess what? You'll start to do the same. But if you surround yourself with positive, uplifting people, their attitude will rub off on you. Now, I'm not saying you should ditch all your friends who are going through a tough time. We all have our ups and downs. But make sure you're also spending time with people who inspire you, who make you laugh, who challenge you to be better. Fourthly, set goals and work towards them. There's something incredibly satisfying about making progress, no matter how small. Maybe your goal is to read a book a month, or to save a certain amount of money, or to run a marathon. Whatever it is, break it down into small, manageable steps. Each time you complete a step, celebrate it. This sense of accomplishment will boost your happiness and motivate you to keep going. Fifth, practice acts of kindness. When you do something nice for someone else, it not only makes them feel good, but it makes you feel good too. It could be as simple as holding the door open for someone, giving a sincere compliment, or helping a neighbor carry their groceries. These small acts of kindness create ripples of positivity that come back to you in ways you can't even imagine. Sixth, take care of your physical health. It's hard to be happy when you're not feeling well physically. Make sure you're getting enough sleep, eating nutritious food, and exercising regularly. Your body and mind are connected, and when you take care of your body, your mind benefits too. 7th, learn something new. Our brains crave novelty and challenge. When we learn new things, we stimulate our minds and create a sense of growth and progress. It doesn't matter what you choose to learn. A new language, a musical instrument, how to cook, how to code. The act of learning itself is what's important. 8, practice mindfulness. This means being present in the moment rather than worrying about the future or dwelling on the past. When you're eating, really taste your food. When you're talking to someone, really listen to what they're saying. When you're walking outside, notice the trees, the sky, the sounds around you. This practice of being present can dramatically increase your happiness and reduce stress. 9th, reframe negative situations. When something bad happens, it's easy to get caught up in negative thinking. But what if you challenge yourself to find something positive in every situation? Maybe you lost your job, but now you have the opportunity to pursue a career you're truly passionate about. Maybe you failed at something, but you learned valuable lessons that will help you succeed next time. 10th, create a happiness ritual. This could be anything that consistently brings you joy. Maybe it's taking a relaxing bath every Sunday evening, or watching the sunrise with a cup of coffee, or calling a friend every Friday afternoon. Having these rituals gives you something to look forward to and provides a regular dose of happiness. Now I can already hear some of you saying, "But Jim, you don't understand. My life is really tough right now. I can't just force myself to be happy." And I get it, I really do. Life can be incredibly challenging sometimes. But here's the thing, happiness isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about finding moments of joy, even in the midst of difficulty. Let me tell you another story. I once met a man who had been diagnosed with a terminal illness. He had every reason to be angry, bitter, and depressed. But instead, he chose to make the most of the time he had left. He started crossing things off his bucket list, spending quality time with his loved ones and spreading joy wherever he went. He told me, "I can't control how much time I have left, but I can control how I spend that time." That man taught me more about happiness than any book or seminar ever could. You see, happiness isn't about your circumstances. It's about your perspective. It's about the lens through which you view the world. And the beautiful thing is, you have the power to change that lens. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. Like any skill, it takes practice. There will be days when it feels impossible to find anything positive. But those are the days when it's most important to try. Because the more you practice looking for the good, the easier it becomes. And eventually, it becomes second nature. Think about it like this. Have you ever bought a new car and suddenly you start seeing that same model everywhere? It's not that there are suddenly more of those cars on the road. It's that your brain is now tuned to notice them. The same thing happens when you start practicing happiness. You start to notice more things to be happy about. But here's the real secret. Happiness isn't just about feeling good. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. When you're happy, you're more creative, more productive, more resilient. You're a better friend, a better partner, a better leader. You're more likely to take risks, to pursue your dreams, to make a positive impact on the world. And let me tell you, the world needs more happy people, because happy people spread happiness. They inspire others. They create positive change. They make the world a better place. So how do you start? Well, it begins with a decision to take control of your happiness. A decision to stop waiting for circumstances to make you happy and start creating your own happiness. A decision to force yourself to be happy, even when it feels difficult. Start small. Maybe today you decide to smile at every person you meet. Maybe tomorrow you write down 3 things you're grateful for. Maybe the next day you do something kind for a stranger. These small actions might not seem like much, but they add up. They create momentum. They start to rewire your brain to look for the positive. And here's the amazing thing. As you start to practice happiness, you'll notice that it becomes easier. It becomes a habit. You'll start to automatically look for the good in situations. You'll start to naturally focus on solutions rather than problems. You'll start to attract positive people and opportunities into your life. But remember, this isn't about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to focus on what's good even while acknowledging what's challenging. It's about finding the lesson in every difficulty, the opportunity in every obstacle. Think about it like this. Two people can experience the exact same situation and have completely different reactions. One person might see a problem and feel overwhelmed and defeated. Another person might see the same problem and feel excited about the challenge and the opportunity to grow. The situation hasn't changed, but their perspective has. Now, I'm not saying you should never feel sad or angry or frustrated. These emotions are part of the human experience and they serve a purpose. But what I am saying is that you have more control over your emotional state than you might think. You can acknowledge these difficult emotions, process them, and then choose to shift your focus to something more positive. It's like exercising a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger you get. At first, it might feel forced or unnatural, but over time, it becomes easier and more automatic. And here's another powerful thing about forcing yourself to be happy. It can help you through the toughest times in your life. When you're facing a challenge or a setback, your habitual happiness can be like a life raft, keeping you afloat until you reach calmer waters. I've seen this play out countless times. People who have developed the habit of happiness are more resilient in the face of adversity. They bounce back faster from setbacks. They find solutions where others see only problems. They inspire those around them to keep going when things get tough. But let's be clear, this isn't about living in denial or ignoring real problems. It's about approaching those problems with a positive, solution-focused mindset. It's about believing in your ability to handle whatever life throws at you. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, you have the power to choose your response. And that's really what this is all about. Choice every day, every moment. You have the choice to focus on what's wrong or what's right, what's missing or what's present, what's challenging or what's possible. And the choice you make will shape your experience of life. So I challenge you, make the choice to be happy. Force yourself if you have to. Because the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And the easier it becomes, the more natural it feels. The more natural it feels, the more it becomes who you are. Imagine waking up every morning excited about the day ahead. Imagine facing challenges with confidence and optimism. Imagine spreading joy to everyone you meet. That's the power of choosing happiness. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but what about when really bad things happen? How can I force myself to be happy then? And that's a fair question. Life can be incredibly difficult sometimes. We face loss, disappointment, failure. But even in these darkest moments, we have a choice. We can choose to focus on what we've lost, or we can choose to be grateful for what we still have. We can choose to be consumed by our pain, or we can choose to learn and grow from it. We can choose to give up, or we can choose to keep going. I'm reminded of a story I once heard about a woman who lost her husband and young child in a tragic accident. For months, she was consumed by grief. But one day, she made a decision. She decided that the best way to honor her loved ones was to live her life to the fullest. She started a charity in their memory, helping other families who had experienced loss. She forced herself to find purpose in her pain, to create meaning from her tragedy. Was she happy all the time? Of course not. She still had moments of deep sadness and grief, but by choosing to focus on what she could do rather than what had been done to her, she found a way to keep moving forward. She found a way to create happiness even in the midst of heartbreak. That's the power of this choice. It doesn't mean you'll never feel sad or angry or frustrated. It means that even when you do feel these things, you have the power to shift your focus, to find the glimmer of hope in the darkness, to take a step, however small, towards happiness. And here's something else to consider. When you force yourself to be happy, you're not just affecting yourself, you're affecting everyone around you. Your happiness can be a light in someone else's darkness. Your smile can brighten someone's day. Your positive attitude can inspire others to keep going when they feel like giving up. Think about the people in your life who always seem to be in a good mood, the ones who can find something to laugh about even on the worst days, the ones who always have an encouraging word to share, Don't you feel better just being around them? That's the kind of person you can become when you make the choice to be happy. But let's be honest, this isn't always easy. There will be days when forcing yourself to be happy feels impossible. Days when you just want to pull the covers over your head and hide from the world. And that's okay. Remember, we're not aiming for perfection here. We're aiming for progress. On those tough days, start small. Maybe you can't force yourself to be happy, but can you force yourself to be grateful for one tiny thing? Can you force yourself to smile at one person? Can you force yourself to take one small action that might make you feel a little better? Because here's the thing. Happiness isn't a destination. It's not something you achieve and then you're done. It's a practice. It's something you choose over and over again, day after day. And the beautiful thing is, the more you practice, the easier it becomes. It's like building a muscle. At first, it might feel difficult and uncomfortable, but over time, it becomes stronger. It becomes a natural part of who you are. So how do you build this happiness muscle? Well, we've talked about some strategies already, but let's dive a little deeper. First, start your day right. The first few minutes after you wake up can set the tone for your entire day. Instead of immediately checking your phone or worrying about all the things you have to do, take a few moments to set a positive intention for the day. Maybe you say a prayer of gratitude, or do some deep breathing, or simply think about one thing you're looking forward to. Next, pay attention to your self-talk. The way you talk to yourself has a huge impact on your happiness. If you're constantly criticizing yourself or focusing on your flaws, it's going to be hard to feel happy. Start catching those negative thoughts and challenging them. Replace "I can't do this" with "I'm learning to do this." Replace "I'm not good enough" with "I'm doing my best and that's enough." Another powerful strategy is to create a positivity playlist. This could be a list of songs that always lift your mood, or inspiring quotes, or funny videos. Whatever makes you feel good. When you're feeling down, turn to this playlist to give yourself a happiness boost. Also, make time for things you enjoy. It's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of daily life and forget to do the things that bring us joy. Whether it's reading a book, going for a walk in nature, playing with your pet, or pursuing a hobby, make sure you're carving out time for activities that make you happy. And don't forget the power of human connection. Spend time with people who lift you up. Have meaningful conversations. Offer support to others. Share a laugh with a friend. These connections are vital for our happiness. Remember, too, that your physical state affects your mental state. Exercise regularly. Eat foods that make you feel good. Get enough sleep. Take care of your body, and your mind will thank you. Another important aspect of forcing yourself to be happy is learning to let go of things you can't control. So often, we waste energy worrying about things that are completely out of our hands. Weather, traffic, other people's opinions. These are all things we can't control, but we can control our response to them. When you find yourself stressing about something you can't change, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what can I control in this situation? Then focus your energy there. It's also important to celebrate your wins, no matter how small. Did you get out of bed when you didn't feel like it? Celebrate that. Did you make a healthy choice at lunch? Celebrate that. Did you handle a difficult situation with grace? Celebrate that. Too often, we focus on our failures and overlook our successes. But acknowledging your progress, however small, can be a powerful happiness booster. Now let's talk about something that might seem counterintuitive. Embracing discomfort. Sometimes the path to happiness involves doing things that aren't necessarily pleasant in the moment. Maybe it's having a difficult conversation you've been avoiding, or pushing yourself to try something new that scares you, or putting in the hard work to achieve a goal. These things might not feel good in the moment, but they lead to growth, accomplishment, and ultimately greater happiness. Think about it like this. Have you ever pushed yourself to exercise even when you didn't feel like it? It might have been uncomfortable during the workout. But how did you feel afterwards? Probably pretty good, right? That's because challenging yourself and overcoming obstacles gives you a sense of accomplishment and boosts your self-esteem. The same principle applies to other areas of life. When you force yourself to do the hard things, You build confidence in your ability to handle challenges. And that confidence is a key component of happiness. But here's an important point. Forcing yourself to be happy doesn't mean ignoring or suppressing negative emotions. It's about acknowledging those feelings, understanding where they're coming from, and then choosing to shift your focus to something more positive. For example, let's say you're feeling frustrated because you made a mistake at work. Instead of dwelling on that frustration, you might acknowledge it. I'm feeling frustrated right now, and that's okay. Then choose to focus on what you can learn from the mistake and how you can do better next time. This ability to reframe situations is a powerful tool in your happiness toolkit. It's about finding the opportunity in every difficulty, the lesson in every mistake, the silver lining in every cloud. And here's something else to consider. Happiness isn't just about what happens to you. It's about what you do. It's about the impact you have on the world around you. When you force yourself to be happy, you're not just improving your own life. You're improving the lives of those around you. Think about it. Have you ever been in a bad mood, and then someone came along with a positive attitude and turned your day around? That's the kind of impact you can have when you choose happiness. You can be that person who lifts others up, who brings light to dark situations, who inspires others to keep going when things get tough. This is why forcing yourself to be happy is so powerful. It's not just about feeling good, it's about becoming the kind of person who makes the world a better place. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but isn't it inauthentic to force happiness? Shouldn't we just be real about how we feel? And that's a valid question. But here's the thing. You're not pretending that everything is perfect or that you never have negative emotions. You're simply choosing to focus on the positive, to look for the good, to take actions that increase your happiness. It's like exercising. When you first start working out, it might feel forced. You might have to drag yourself to the gym, but over time, it becomes a habit. It becomes part of who you are. The same thing happens with happiness. At first, it might feel forced, but the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. And here's another important point. Forcing yourself to be happy doesn't mean you ignore problems or avoid dealing with difficult situations. In fact, it's quite the opposite. When you approach life with a positive mindset, you're better equipped to handle challenges. You're more creative in finding solutions. You're more resilient in the face of setbacks. Think about some of the most successful people you know. Chances are they faced significant challenges and setbacks. But what sets them apart is their ability to maintain a positive outlook even in difficult times. They force themselves to focus on solutions rather than problems, on opportunities. This is a skill you can develop too. It starts with a decision to take control of your happiness, to stop waiting for circumstances to make you happy, and to start creating your own joy. Now, let's talk about some practical ways you can force yourself to be happy in everyday situations. Let's say you're stuck in traffic. Instead of getting frustrated, you could use that time to listen to an audiobook or podcast that inspires you. Or you could practice gratitude, thinking about all the things in your life you're thankful for. Or maybe you're dealing with a difficult coworker. Instead of letting their negativity bring you down, you could challenge yourself to find something positive about them. Maybe they have a skill you admire, or maybe dealing with them is teaching you patience. By reframing the situation, you're choosing to create happiness even in challenging circumstances. Another powerful strategy is to create a happiness emergency kit, a collection of things that never fail to lift your mood. This could include photos that make you smile, a playlist of your favorite upbeat songs, a book that inspires you, or a list of your proudest accomplishments. When you're feeling down, you can turn to this kit to give yourself a happiness boost. Remember too, that happiness often comes from giving rather than receiving. When you're feeling low, try doing something kind for someone else. It could be as simple as giving a sincere compliment, helping a neighbor with a task, or volunteering for a cause you care about. These acts of kindness not only make others feel good, but they also increase your own sense of purpose and happiness. It's also important to surround yourself with positivity. This means being mindful of the media you consume, the conversations you engage in, and the people you spend time with. Are you constantly watching news that makes you feel hopeless? Are you spending time with people who always complain? These things can have a big impact on your mood. Choose to surround yourself with positivity as much as possible. Now I want to address something important. Sometimes forcing yourself to be happy might feel impossible. You might be dealing with depression, anxiety, or other mental health challenges that make it extremely difficult to shift your mood. If that's the case, it's crucial to seek professional help. There's no shame in talking to a therapist or counselor. In fact, it's one of the bravest and most positive steps you can take for your well-being. But for most of us, most of the time, we have more control over our happiness than we realize. We have the power to choose our focus, our attitude, our actions, and those choices can radically transform our lives. Think about it like this. Every morning when you wake up, you have a choice. You can choose to focus on all the things that might go wrong that day, all the things you're worried about, all the things you don't like about your life. Or you can choose to focus on the possibilities, the opportunities, the things you're grateful for. Which choice do you think will lead to a happier day? Which choice will make you more likely to seize these opportunities, to overcome challenges, to enjoy your interactions with others? The choice is yours. And it's a choice you make not just once, but over and over again throughout the day. Every time something doesn't go your way, you have a choice. Every time you face a challenge, you have a choice. Every time you interact with another person, you have a choice. You can choose to let circumstances dictate your happiness, or you can choose to create your own happiness regardless of circumstances. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. Some days it might feel like the hardest thing in the world. But remember, we're building a muscle here. The more you practice choosing happiness, the stronger that muscle gets, the easier it becomes. And here's the beautiful thing. As you get better at choosing happiness, you'll start to notice changes in your life. You'll find that you're more resilient in the face of challenges. You'll notice that you're attracting more positive people and opportunities into your life. You'll feel more confident, more capable, more alive. You'll start to see possibilities where before you only saw problems. You'll start to find solutions where before you only saw obstacles. You'll start to create the life you want rather than just accepting the life you have. And perhaps most importantly, you'll start to have a positive impact on those around you. Your happiness will be contagious. You'll lift others up. You'll inspire them to choose happiness too. So I challenge you. Make the choice to be happy. Force yourself if you have to. Do it not just for yourself, but for all the lives you can touch with your positivity. Do it because the world needs more happy people. Do it because you have the power to create your own joy, to shape your own reality, to live a life of purpose and fulfillment. Remember, happiness is not something that happens to you. It's something you create. It's a skill you can develop, a muscle you can strengthen, a choice you can make every single day. So choose happiness. Choose it when it's easy, and choose it when it's hard. Choose it when life is going your way, and choose it when life throws you curveballs. Choose it in the big moments and in the small moments. Choose it not because everything is perfect, but because you have the power to find joy even in imperfection. Force yourself to be happy, not because you're denying reality, but because you're choosing to focus on the best parts of reality. Force yourself to be happy, not because you never feel sad or angry or frustrated, but because you know that you have the power to shift your focus and change your state. Force yourself to be happy because you understand that happiness is not just a feeling. It's a way of engaging with the world. It's a lens through which you view your experiences. It's a tool that helps you navigate life's challenges and make the most of life's opportunities. Force yourself to be happy because you know that when you do, you become the best version of yourself. You become more creative, more productive, more resilient. You become a better friend, a better partner, a better leader. You become someone who makes a positive difference in the world. So starting today, make the choice, choose happiness, force it if you have to. Practice it every day. Watch as it transforms not just your mood, but your entire life. Watch as it ripples out from you, touching the lives of everyone you encounter. Remember, you have the power. You have the choice. You can force yourself to be happy. And when you do, you'll discover that happiness was within you all along, waiting for you to choose it. So choose it. Choose it now. Choose it every day. Force yourself to be happy and watch as your life transforms in ways you never imagined possible. The power is in your hands. The choice is yours. What will you choose? This is why forcing yourself to be happy is so powerful. It's not just about feeling good. It's about becoming the kind of person who makes the world a better place.